Welcome, my friends, to the Piazza di San Lorenzo in Genoa, and that is a rather beautiful piece of Genovese architecture, the Church of San Lorenzo, which always makes me happy because Lawrence is my wonderful father's name. Now, the fun part is the last time I was here, there was a festival, like a religious service of some kind, quite big, and the place was rammed and I couldn't get in. I don't think the same is true today, so I'm gonna enter. This guy, he's like, dude, it wasn't me. I think it had a new roof put on. So, like, at the risk of sounding redundant, much of Italy, this building is ancient. The original cathedral here was constructed in the 6th century AD. But this place, the oldest parts, and if you look at the frescoes on the walls, this building is 1,000 years old. A little more, actually. But yeah, and you can still see some of the frescoes and murals. It really is so impressive. Anyway. Something that you see relatively rarely. Twin organs. I do like that stained glass window. Let's take a photo of it for Beth. The Last Supper, of course. Not the Last Supper, but you know what I mean. I live for stuff like this. Ask anyone. That is absolutely incredible. I absolutely love this. So, very old, of course, statuary of a lion with a lot of the detail worn off from people patting it and stroking it, and there's a lot of wear there. So presumably little kids have been sitting on the back of the lion for centuries and centuries. Right, that was awesome actually, and now I am absolutely ravenous, so I'm gonna go and find some lunch. I love the expression on this lion's face. Bit weird, really. Moby Dick, the ballet. I do not understand how that works. But never mind. I'm also more than fond of this absolutely lovely water feature fountain. It's so cool. I feel like the universe is pleased with me today, and the feeling is entirely neutral. So I'm walking downhill now from the centre of the city. Well, it's not, it's a coastal port town. So if you like, it's kind of shaped a little bit like a 6 lying on its side. So you have kind of the central town, and then the rest of it curves around towards the port. But walking down from the government buildings and the churches and the rest down to the MOG, the market I told you about, get myself some arancini and from some antipasti, that kind of thing, and see about getting a drink. It's about 4 o'clock. Sorry, rather loud. And I've got, well, I can take all the time I want, really. I think I'm going to kind of snack here, get some arancini and so forth, and then go back to that Roman restaurant from the other day for dinner tonight. Cool. And yeah, go from there. Porticos and archways, rather large porticos to boot. That one, that entire building could use a scrub, quite frankly. But Genoa does get very, very hot in the summer, and believe me, to be walking down these galleries out of the sun is gold. I think I mentioned, and I hope you'll forgive me if I am repeating myself too many times, that I am much more fond of Genoa than I am of Milan or even Naples. Nothing compares to Rome, of course. But I do love this town. Yeah. Anyway. It was at that market that I bought vegetables for. I made myself my mother's healthy lasagna before getting on the boat to Tangier, because obviously if you buy food and drinks on the boat it's very expensive, and so I made myself actually quite a large chunk, because it was a 2-day voyage to get to Tangier from here, and I bought 1 coffee that entire trip. Made friends with the barista guy, and then I went back to him every few hours to fill up my tea with free hot water. What fun. Just the freshest seafood. Most amazing cheese. It's just, this place is incredible. I mean, as everyone knows, vegetables are just wonderful in Italy. Fruit and vegetables here. I'm going to go with 3 times as good as the ones you get in Britain. And if you come here pretty much at dawn, you bump into all the restaurateurs, and it's usually like the boss person or the nonna who runs the place who come here when the second it opens to get the best possible produce for their restaurants, have coffee together, bitch about things. In competitive fashion, it's really rather fun. I absolutely love this place. Yeah. That meat store over there was where I bought some fantastic beef and pork to make my lasagna. Oh, yeah, all kinds of cool. Anyway, this place is a high-end knife shop run by a man called Alessandro, who's currently away for coffee. Otherwise I would pop in and say hi. He put an amazing edge on both of my knives that I had on me at the time. Absolutely amazing edge. And the good news, of course, is that because the very next day they were confiscated, both knives still had that amazing edge. Anyway, I'm going to pop around, have an espresso. I picked up some arancini that'll do for food for a while. My hostel is up that road, about 200 meters. Good hostel, actually. If you're interested in coming to Genoa, let me know in the comments, I'll hook you up. Right, well, I decided against a pasticceria or a trattoria because I'm trying to save money a little bit. I've spent a little bit too much on this trip with all of the transportation hassles and so forth. So I decided to get an arancini and a beer and sit here on the fountain for a little while. So, cheers. I'm going to remember today. Today, life is good. A thought occurred to me while I was sitting here on the fountain in the piazza, having my arancini and my beer. I should have just come here. I should have just got off the plane, maybe spent one night in Milan, and I should have just come here because I love this town. But I wanted to spend a little time in Milan, go to the Duomo, have a wander around, and I have. But I've probably spent, and I don't know Milan that well. I know Genoa really very well now. I've probably spent about, I don't know, a month here total over all the times, and I'm very fond of this, as I've stated more than once. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. But never mind, I will be back. So I came in at Principe, which is the central train station. I think it's because you'd think it would be like principal, like number one, but I think it's more that this area used to be a principality. But I'm walking up to Brignole, which is the end of the line, and getting the train back to Milan from there.